Do you like teenage girls?
When you say teenage, how are we talking?
Girls who are teenagers.
Rolex on your wrist, a plain giant.
For someone to come home with me, all you have to do is be quit playing. Robert. I didn't do this stuff. Just use your common sense. This is not me, y'all. I'm fighting for my life. Y'all killing me with this. This is not about music.
What up and welcome back. It's your girl Jane, the plainest Jane. We got some syrup to get into. Today was a bizarre day, right? We're just getting into the meat and bones. We're getting into witness testimony. So you know things get pretty juicy. If you've read the title, if you've seen the thumbnail, you already know things got a little intense, okay? So the star government witness, okay? The girl from the tape, aka Sparkle's niece, formerly or actually known as Reshona Landfair, she testified today. And may I say, she did pretty good, and it made R. Kelly look bad. Now, just 11 months after R. Kelly's conviction and 7 weeks after his sentencing, Robert is back in court to face his Chicago trial, which is kind of like a redo for 2002, but it's not double jeopardy. So look, come on in. Hit thumbs up. I know a lot of y'all been waiting. Y'all be waiting for your girl Jane to come on in and give y'all this R. Kelly commentary and to give you a recap of both blow by blow of what happened in court. Y'all elected me, and goddamn it, I'm here to deliver. Have a seat on the bus. Hit thumbs up just to get right back into it, because there's a good chunk that we have to go through today. Reshona Landfair was on the stand for over 4 hours today. Now, while this video ain't going to be 4 hours long, we do still have a lot that I want to tell you about. So as I was stating earlier, right, when we talk about the 2002/2008 trial, this is not double jeopardy. R. Kelly has literally committed a plethora of different crimes as it relates to the same victim and even others. There are multiple tapes. There are multiple victims. R. Kelly is facing 13 counts of the production of child porn, right? Child pornography. And also he's facing charges for obstruction of justice for allegedly rigging the 2008 trial. In addition to that, the government is seeking money forfeiture of $1.5 million, right? R. Kelly can't say I ain't got it because he got something. Let's say hello to my co-host because he's here waiting for his payment. Hello, can you give me a second? Let me put the treat in my hand and then you'll give me. You have to wait. Damn, what's going on? Leo, honestly, get it together. It's up here. So yeah, you gotta. Okay. Can you say hello to the people? Say hello up there, the people that, not my hand. Hello to the, he doesn't get it. He doesn't want to get it. He wants another treat. Leo, can you speak to the people right there in the camera? No, you don't want to speak. All right, Leo. All right, Leo, come on. Can you get down? If you're not going to speak to these people right here, then can you get down, please? Get down. Thank you. Thank you so very much. My co-host is here, and he got some things to say because he is appalled. Let me just say, as we get into this, I have got to give you the biggest, and I do mean the biggest trigger warning possible, okay? We've got to get into a trigger warning because today things get pretty gruesome, right? The testimony and what was gone over today. We're talking about smoke detectors that were actually video cameras, sneak, slick, spy video cameras inside of faux smoke detectors. We're talking about an escape button that was inside of R. Kelly's bedroom, an escape button so that you could exit the bedroom. And not only is that a safety hazard, but what are you doing locking people in your bedroom, right? We're going to get into more detail about that. We're going to talk about R. Kelly actually staging scenes to make victims appear as if they're prostitutes. We're talking about R. Kelly giving 14-year-olds alcohol. Who handled the duffel bag of child pornography? R. Kelly's explicit collection of illicit deeds. Yeah, we're talking about that too. R. Kelly's having threesome with children here. We will get into that in this video. Again, when I say trigger warning, I mean it, because we'll have a victim here who is explaining how R. Kelly actually urinated on her. And then we'll get into why Sparkle's niece, right, the girl from the infamous tape that unfortunately a lot of people have seen, why she decided to come forward after all this time, after refusing to cooperate with investigators 2 decades ago. So when I tell you we got a full bus ride that we need to get into, right? Get your seat, hold on. I don't care what you're eating, what you're drinking, or what you're smoking. Make sure you pay your fare and hit the thumbs up button, okay? Y'all know, in between my 9 to 5 and raising my child, aka this cat, and then my real life, it takes a lot to give y'all all this information. So the thumbs up is free and it means a lot. Keep in mind, my Cash App is here on the screen. You're also welcome to send a super chat or a super thanks. Those things are appreciated, but not required. Okay, so whatever way you can support the show, and all of you should be supporting the show, because you can support for free at the very least. If you ain't trying to give me $2, hit the goddamn thumbs up button. Shout out to everybody in the live chat. Shout out to my channel members. Channel members, you got a little something special. A couple hours ago, I gave y'all an update backstage. We're going to go over that information sometime later on this weekend, right? With regards to somebody that was on the stand today. Their family got some things that they thinking, their family's response to that testimony on the stand today. I placed that backstage for members only. So shout out to my members and shout out to my moderators, okay? And I appreciate all of you all who are in the live chat. There are 300 of us here. Thank you for getting me up to 300 likes, right? We are 195. Let's get to 300. And honestly, truthfully, let's get ready for takeoff. Shall we?
The plainest Jane. This is one of my favorite comments here. She says, I loves me some black, and she said, loves me some black news. She says, is it just me, or does anyone else get tired of seeing people that don't look like them delivering info about them day in and day out?
All right, I just want to take some time and emphasize another trigger warning, right? If you're triggered by child abuse, if you're triggered by the testimony of Grape, right, minus the G, just prepare yourself or click away if that's what's best for you. You won't catch a lot of content creators telling you to click away from their content. However, we're definitely going to get into some gruesome details that contain descriptions, explicit descriptions of sexual abuse and trauma, okay? So, real quick, I hope y'all are feeling all right, right? I tell you all to mention or to tap into, rather, your mental health before you get to dibbling and dabbling into R. Kelly and his nasty ass. Make sure you straighten your world, your invisible problems, and all those other things. Make sure that those things are taken care of. Thank you to my new subscribers. We're literally almost at 13K. I didn't even get a chance to say thank you for 12K like 2 days ago. So thank y'all. I like to say thank you at every milestone. At least I tried to. On the last channel, before I got deleted, I was at 102,000. I didn't get to really celebrate and relish in the accomplishment of having more subscribers. So I wanted to, as I'm building this channel up, since YouTube didn't delete my ass, I want to say thank you for as many milestones as possible, but thank you so much, okay? Before I get into breaking down today's topics and viral events, make sure you subscribe and thumbs up or down, either way. I appreciate it, but make sure you think critically and independently, regardless of what you hear from me or anybody else. Now, let's get into it, shall we? Now, some of the counts against R. Kelly involve videotaped evidence, right? Which could be difficult. Could be difficult to refute, and other counts will largely rely instead on witness testimony. So keep that in mind as we cover this trial and this situation. And thank you so much for the Cash App. I see there's one that came through already. I won't mention your name, but thank you, because when I'm talking about explicit sex acts like this, YouTube ain't gonna let me make no money off this video. So when y'all send the Cash Apps and the monetary donations, I appreciate that, okay? The same as I appreciate a thumbs up. You know, when I'm covering trials, R. Kelly or anybody, I start with outside of the courthouse. What was going on outside of the courthouse? You know, it was literally mayhem. It was literally pandemonium up in New York this time last year. Still nothing. Still nothing. I think they not playing with these feds in Chicago. There's nothing going on outside the courthouse as of yet, but give it time. We got 3 weeks and a day, around about roughly, to see if anything goes down. So obviously R. Kelly was in court today. I just want to tell you what he had on and what was happening. He was dressed in a dark blue suit. Now, before court began, a marshal came out to the table and asked for a tie for him. They're requesting a tie and telling his lawyers that he wants a brown one today. Now, you know, the day before yesterday, which was day 2, R. Kelly actually had McDonald's for lunch. So it seems that while he's on trial, he's able to get requests just like fulfilled, whether it be what color tie, what he wants for lunch. And I was discussing in yesterday's video, which was day 3's recap, about how McDonald's probably isn't the best decision. It's not best for the optics of R. Kelly, because we know his history with McDonald's. If you know, you know. If you don't, you definitely need to catch up or just stay tuned, okay? R. Kelly did a lot of recruiting of young people, boys and girls, minors, at a lot of McDonald's. So him having McDonald's for lunch really just, even his fans realize that that's just not one of the best moves. But nonetheless, today is day 4 of R. Kelly on trial in Chicago. And look, if you haven't already taken a second to share this video with someone, share it on social media, share it on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, text message, your group chat where you and your homies be talking it up, make sure you share this video because I'm trying to pick your friends up too. Y'all are on my bus, but let me pick your friends up as well as we get into day 4 of the R. Kelly trial. Hey, thanks for letting me keep you connected and in the know with what's happening in the Black world. Don't forget to smash on that like button for support and for more Black news. All right. And so as we come back, and shout out to my Discord. I was trying to see what the Discord was talking about real quick. So this is what transpired in the court right before they got started, before they even got started with any testimony or calling anybody to the stand. The judge had a little something to say. So let's get into what the judge had to say today. I want to put this definition on the screen. This is one of the words that he used. All right. And so the judge, he ordered the court, first things first, he ordered the court sketch artists to anonymize Kelly's alleged victims in their sketches, specifically to obliterate the faces and the hairstyles of the victims as they draw. So a lot of you may know that when I'm giving commentary and when I'm providing a blow-by-blow with each day that passes of the R. Kelly trial, I include the sketches from that day. There really haven't been too many sketches at all as it pertains. There's been one, which I used in yesterday's thumbnail. Obviously, channel members had early access to that. But there haven't been a lot of sketches thus far. There were a lot of sketches for the New York trial. Not a lot for this one. However, a lot of you all had feedback about how terrible some of the sketches were last year. A lot of people even calling R. Kelly in the sketches Regret Kelly instead of R. Kelly. And you can see this rock and roll McDonald's is what do you want to call it? It's very well known in Chicago, right? And so you can see in the 2000 and the trial from last year, this McDonald's was brought up because that's where he met one of his John Does, not one of his Jane Does. But nonetheless, sketches have been a big part. You got this one. You got this one where he looked like he fallen asleep, and he actually did fall asleep last year during the trial. And there was another sketch I wanted to show. This one. But nonetheless, let's move past the sketches, okay? And shout out to all 390 of us here right now, okay? So we want to get into day 4. Now, if you remember, if you've been watching every day, you know that there was a witness on the stand yesterday, and this is the same witness that closed out court. The court was adjourned while this person was on the stand. And so obviously court opened up with this individual as well, who was a retired Chicago police detective who was called to the stand yesterday. So court opened up today with him on the stand as well. And so what I'm going to do really quickly is give you about like a 2 to 3 minute synopsis of where we left off yesterday. I'm not going to start exactly where we left off because I'm just going to give you a 2.5, 3 minute synopsis, and that'll help you understand how and where they left off. And you'll be able to hear in what I say, this is where we left off, and this is where day 4 starts. So this synopsis is the prosecution's third witness that was called yesterday on day 3. Again, this was a retired Chicago police detective. His name was Daniel Everett. Now, he previously testified that he received the infamous R. Kelly sex tape from a Chicago Sun-Times music critic who is Jim Derogatis. Okay, that's his name. This was February of 2002. This retired Chicago police detective says he was assigned to a case in 2000 after he got an anonymous tip from this reporter involving allegations of child abuse from a celebrity and a minor child. The celebrity was R. Kelly. The minor child was Reshona Landfair. Now, the minor, Reshona Landfair, was actually Kelly's goddaughter, Sparkle's niece. Now, he led this case, and the case led to the indictment of the trial that he faced in Chicago before. Keep in mind, this was a state trial back in 2008. However, we're back in Chicago again with R. Kelly, but this is a federal trial this time, not a state one. And so this was a case that ended 6 years later, literally, which is why it was 2002 to 2008 with R. Kelly's acquittal. Okay. So Everett, the retired detective who was testifying on the stand yesterday into today, he says that he interviewed Reshona Landfair, Sparkle's niece, at a small shoe store in Oak Park. He says that Sparkle's niece informed him that R. Kelly was her godfather and that R. Kelly never abused her and never would do anything like that to her. So based off of his report, because he didn't have anybody saying, yes, this was me, yes, this was my child, this is me and this, it became an unfounded claim because no one was willing to admit to it, either party, R. Kelly nor her, right? So this retired detective also says that on February 1st, 2002, they received a copy of the tape. They immediately recognized the girl, okay, on the tape as Reshona Landfair, okay? So the anonymous tip he received in 2000, was not from the reporter. That wasn't from Jim Derogatis, okay? Nonetheless, this retired cop says that he immediately recognized who was on the tape after he received the tape from the reporter in 2002. And when he was asked in court late yesterday, right, how he recognized Reshona, he said, based off of her facial features. The prosecutor asked, is it because you met her in person? The retired cop said, exactly. So the retired cop is literally walking jurors through his child pornography investigation and how they searched and photographed R. Kelly's house on West George Street in Chicago, which he said had several similarities to what was seen on the sex tape with the minor. So talking about R. Kelly's bedroom, the retired detective was able to say, quote, after viewing the video, it was very obvious that this was the setting where it took place, end quote. Now, with the new developments in the case, after he got the tip, he recognizes the girl, the positive identification. Because he recognizes the girl, obviously, police tried to re-interview her and her family, but they were unable to get in contact with them, presumably because the prosecution is saying that the family was paid off to lie and avoid law enforcement. Okay. So the direct examination ends, and therefore this detective was questioned first thing in the morning today, right? So the defense goes in to ask questions to the government's witness, okay? And this is where we begin today with, right? McDavid's attorney. Remember, R. Kelly's not on trial by himself here. He's on trial with two of his former acquaintances and employees, right? So there are three of them. They worked for him, they were cool with him, and all those other things. One of them was kind of acting like a manager. One of them was kind of acting and postured as an assistant, right? So McDavid is one of the individuals who is also on trial with R. Kelly, since R. Kelly isn't alone here. And so as McDavid's attorneys are cross-examining this retired cop, okay, this McDavid's attorney asks the cop about the VHS that was provided to the Chicago Police Department by the former Sun-Times reporter, okay, Jim Derogatis. Now, yesterday, when he was called in by the feds to review the allegedly incriminating video of R. Kelly and Sparkle's niece, he watched a DVD. Okay, so he saw the initial video on VHS. Remember, we're talking about 2002 through 2008. So obviously he watched a VHS. We really, in 2002, 2008 might be a different story, but in 2002, it wasn't been so many DVDs or DVD players around. So he watched a VHS because this is something that is introduced into evidence. They like to refresh the, people who are involved in this situation, who are being called up as witnesses or accusers or whatever, refresh their memory about these things by allowing them to watch the videos before they watch it at trial again, so that they're able to give an accurate description, feeling, whatever context it is that they need. So this is where they really start questioning the chain of custody. Remember, I was telling you in days 1, 2, and 3 that McDavid's attorneys and even R. Kelly's attorney they want to bark up the tree of, well, the chain of custody is botched. Where's the original tape? Why did y'all lose it? How did y'all lose it? And if you lost it, or if you destroyed it after the 7 years, when you're supposed to get rid of evidence after a trial, how are you holding me accountable for a piece of evidence that you have destroyed? Whereas though if the piece of evidence was present, it might be able to exonerate me. And if some of the people who were involved or mentioned in this case were still alive, aka Aaliyah, who has passed, they would be able to exonerate me as well. So nonetheless, the tape versus the DVD, it's definite. It's a thing. This is what they're going over in court today. So what he ends up saying, this retired detective ends up saying that he was called in by the feds to review the incriminating video, and with R. Kelly and Sparkle's niece. He watched the DVD. He did not watch the original VHS that he saw. That was 20 years ago. So he cannot definitively say for certain if the one, right? If the one from then and now are exactly the same. He can't definitively say, okay, well, I'm watching this here on DVD. I can't say that this hasn't been enhanced or whatever the case is. He cannot say if the DVD had been enhanced or if it was an exact copy of the VHS, right? So this is something that a weak spot that the defense has found to kind of use to take some credibility out of the prosecution's statements, right? So they're hinting heavily towards the chain of custody issues for the tape at the center of R. Kelly's 2002 case, right? Now, again, he acknowledges that he has not seen the original tape in years, and he also says he doesn't know where it is, okay? says he doesn't know where it is, right? Now, let's get into this. McDavid's attorney also notes that the retired detective dropped the investigation of R. Kelly after he interviewed the girl and her parents, and says that, they all denied that she was on the video or had an inappropriate relationship with R. Kelly, right? Obviously, the girl was lying to the authorities at that time. I'm looking at the comments and I'm a little taken aback by some of the things that are being said, but let me stay focused. Oh my God. Okay. So, like I said, the retired detective acknowledges that he has not seen the original tape in years, and he also doesn't know where it is. Okay? Says he doesn't know where it is. Now, again, McDavid's defense, which is what he outlined on Wednesday, was that he believed that the denials were true. He's working for R. Kelly. R. Kelly and his team are basically saying, look, this isn't true. This isn't real. It's doctored. We're being set up. It's fake. It's false. So McDavid's attorneys are saying, look, this is what my client was being told, and therefore, this is what my client believes. Okay? So now we get into the point where R. Kelly's attorney is cross-examining this retired detective. So far what we've went through is this detective who was the lead detective and investigator when it came to R. Kelly's 2002 child pornography tape with Sparkle's niece, Reshona Landfair. And they've given their direct examination testimony, right, to prosecutors. They were cross-examined by McDavid's attorney. Now it is R. Kelly's attorney's chance to cross-examine this litigant here, right? And so this retired cop ends up saying, wow, it is R. Kelly's attorney's chance to cross-examine them, that he also interviewed one of Reshona's friends who is expected to testify later at trial under the pseudonym Pinky. For those of you who don't know, pseudonym is just another word for like another name. They don't want to go by their regular names. They want to use pseudonyms. So actually, Sparkle's niece is using the pseudonym Jane. It ain't me, y'all. It is not me. But nonetheless, unfortunately, Reshona wanting to use that pseudonym, it really doesn't protect her. This is a high-profile case, and everyone knows that this is Sparkle's niece, and we're talking about the infamous tape. Although there are multiple tapes that R. Kelly has, and all of us know who Reshona is, okay? So, but when we talk about Reshona's friend, Pinky, this retired detective is saying that he also interviewed one of Sparkle's niece's friends, who is also expected to testify at trial. Her name is Pinky. Pinky did not tell this detective at the time that they had sexual relations with R. Kelly as well. And this is according to the retired detective's 2002 report. So the detective tells jurors that the then Chicago Sun-Times reporter Jim DeRogatis anonymously received a video in the early 2000s alleging that R. Kelly was having sex with a minor. So the reporter DeRogatis contacted police, and they retrieved the tape, and then they launched an investigation. Okay? The attorney is now asking, R. Kelly's attorney is now asking questions to the retired detective about the DCFS, which here in Baltimore, we call it CPS, Child Protective Services, but different states and regions call it different things. Apparently in Chicago, Illinois, they call it DCFS or, something different. it's all the same thing. Is this child being mistreated or not, right? That department. So they received a complaint in 2000 about the parents of Reshona Landfair. Now, the CPS complaint was lodged against Susan and Brandon, complained that they were allowing their daughter, Reshona, Sparkle's niece, to sleep with a 33-year-old man. Okay? So the detective tells R. Kelly's attorney that after interviewing all of them, Reshona and her family, that he concluded the allegation was unfounded. Again, he had nothing but denials to work with. So that's that. Okay. Mind you, he's working off of an anonymous tip and he hadn't seen the tape yet in 2000. Does that make sense? You get an anonymous tip. Hey, this person is having sex with a child. And you go and ask the child and the parents, and they say no, and you haven't seen a tape, right? So he had nothing but denials to work with. So that is why that allegation came to be unfounded, because there had been no tape that had surfaced at the time. However, the detective also told R. Kelly's attorney, Jennifer Bongine, that while investigating the CPS allegation against Reshona's parents, that he'd only conducted a single half-an-hour interview with them. He further says that he never interviewed R. Kelly himself on the matter. Okay. So things are definitely heating up. They're definitely heating up. And we're getting to the meat and bones of the story. Shout out to the FameCom Network for sending a $10 super chat. That means so much. Thank you. There was another person that sent the super chat. D. Saunders actually sent the super sticker for $2.99. Thank you so much. I do appreciate those monetary donations to the channel. It means a lot to me. So thank you so much. And don't forget to hit thumbs up before we have to fight. I will beat your ass and then put you off my bus. Drag you off my bus. Hit that damn button. Okay? And I'm hangry. I ain't ate nothing yet so that I can give y'all the best commentary and I wouldn't get the itis and be late. Hit that damn button because I'm hungry. And it's because of you. Thank you. Thank you. But let's move forward, though. Okay. So we leave off with the detective stating that they've never interviewed R. Kelly on the matter, right? When it came to the anonymous tip that they received in 2000 about R. Kelly having sex with the kid. They wouldn't ask the kid. They wouldn't ask the kid's parents. Nothing but denials. And they never interviewed R. Kelly. But honestly, had they went and interviewed R. Kelly, what do you think he would have said? He would have just denied it, right? They had nothing but denials to work with. Okay? So we get back to the pseudonym Pinky, the friend of Sparkle's niece, aka Reshona Landfair, right? Pinky did not tell this detective at the time that she had any sexual contact with R. Kelly, but she did, though. But she did have sex with R. Kelly. And there was a report on Pinky because there was an investigation into her because a videotape surfaced depicting Pinky and R. Kelly having sex, right? Her being sexually abused by R. Kelly. When the detective showed Pinky and her mother the stills of the tape, the still imagery, like a screenshot, essentially, they denied any and all involvement. Pinky and her parents did, right? So R. Kelly's attorney begins pressing this retired detective on why he didn't investigate Pinky more thoroughly. Now, mind you, this is cross-examination time, right? And she's supposed to be working to the best benefit of her client. And I guess I can see what she did here, but here's what R. Kelly's attorney says, quote, "You think if she told you she was having sex with an adult as an underage person, you would have opened an investigation?" End quote. Right? And I think that I don't really think that that was very powerful, but I do think that what she was trying to do here was exploit a missed opportunity, a missed opportunity of referencing a serious matter with this detective and a child that was, you know, having intercourse with a grown person. There was abuse that this cop missed, and this cop was all around, all around that area, right? So it was basically trying to make him look ineffective at his job. I think that that's really all that R. Kelly's attorney had. Like every opportunity they get, they're just trying to make the person on the stand look bad at their moral compass, their job, whatever the case is, even where they've gotten their education. You remember yesterday, R. Kelly's attorney was poking fun at the expert witness who was a psychologist about where they got their degree from. She's literally throwing shade and picking fun at how he got his degree from an online university, right? So when they don't have anything to offer, that's just what R. Kelly's defense is going to do. They're just going to make you look like crap, even if it doesn't necessarily help their cause. It just helps kind of weaken you as being credible. Okay. So let's get into the fourth witness that the government or the prosecution calls up to the stand, right? This is the fourth person that they've called up to the stand, but this is the second person who is on the stand today, which is day 4 of R. Kelly's Chicago trial. Okay. So I'm about to show y'all some pictures of a house in a second. So the fourth witness that the prosecution ends up calling to the stand is actually a man who purchased R. Kelly's former home in 2001. So R. Kelly was living at this place in the 90s, late 90s, whatever the case is. And they end up calling the man that purchased the property after him. Okay. So look. Police evidence technicians. This is where we get to the smoke detector mess. Okay. And shout out to all 500 of us here right now. It's 10 of 1 o'clock in the morning over here, Baltimore, stand up. Okay. And it's 500 of us here. Thank y'all so much for supporting the stream so late at night and getting this information from your girl. And of course, thank you for hitting thumbs up and subscribing to the channel. Hey, thanks for letting me keep you connected and in the know with what's happening in the Black world. Don't forget to smash on that like button for support and for more Black news. So we get into the man who purchased R. Kelly's home, right? In 2001, after R. Kelly had it for a while. So police evidence technicians actually came through and took pictures of this man's home after he had it. They came through to this man's home, basically invaded his privacy because R. Kelly used to live there, and they needed pictures of the interior of that place in order to nail him for the sex tapes because of the very specific details in the background of said sex tape, right? So let's get into this. Okay. Police evidence technicians, they come through, they take pictures of the house that at least one of the illicit acts, which was captured on videotape, was filmed in. This was part of the 2002 indictment. Specifically, child, they had a name for this place. It was called the Colorado Room. Now, mind you, this is Chicago, but they called the room where the setting of the infamous sex tape, unfortunately. They called it the Colorado Room. Now, if any of you have seen it, excuse me, you know that there's wood paneling back there, or at least it looked like it was wood. It was faux wood, right? And would you have it that R. Kelly could have been all of these sexually deviant acts? Okay? This was a converted church. This used to be a church. Do you want to see it? Do you want to see it? God damn it, you ain't got a choice, because here we go. Let's take a look. This is where it's at, y'all. This is where it is at. Now, I ain't gonna lie. This is a pretty big and spacious place. Not only was this a converted church, but it had a swimming pool, and it still has a swimming pool, a basketball court, and even a barber shop. Okay? This is a big place. And they dragged this man into this trial. They came in and they took pictures of this place years ago. And this man ended up testifying. He's on the stand right now as I walk you through these things. He has to testify about where he lives just because R. Kelly's nasty ass used to live there. Because they had to get what it is that he had to say. Let's get out the bathroom. Hold on. What other stuff? Here go a closet. Hold up. I mean, it is a very huge place. Okay? Very huge. Let's see what else. Did I pass the kitchen? Because the kitchen had me impressed. I ain't going to lie to you. Hold on. This is a random. Okay. Let's get in that. Mind you, it might be updated now, but still, you can still get a feel for how much space was in this spot. Because it was definitely a lot. Okay, here we go. Little kitchen. I mean, like, that's nice. That's nice. Okay? Every woman wants an island kitchen. I ain't gonna lie to you. We really do. But nonetheless, let's get out this house because I'm starting to smell some urine. Were y'all starting to smell some urine? Because I did. Just a little bit. Look, it looked nice, you know what I'm saying? But it stinks. So nonetheless, let's get back into this. This is the fourth witness that the government/prosecution has called to the stand. This is the second person that took the stand today, right? 3 people total took the stand today. And so the prosecution ends up asking this person who purchased this home after R. Kelly, did Chicago police come to your home in 2002 and ask to take photos? The man responded, yes. Well, after he moved in, okay, he discovered that some of the smoke detectors, which were located in more than one of the bedrooms in the home, were actually video cameras. Video cameras. Okay? Imagine moving in to a spot and then realizing that the cops got to come in and take pictures. And then you got smoke detectors with cameras in them. With cameras in them. Make that make sense for me. I can't. He also found, right? They were actually video cameras. He also found that you had to press a button. Like I was saying at the beginning of the video, you had to press a button to get out of the bedroom. You had to press a button. You need an escape button, essentially, in order to exit the bedroom. This is a feature that he removed after he moved into the home because he thought it was a safety hazard. And it is. Matter of fact, it's a fire hazard. If we're going to be specific about what type of hazard it is, what type of safety hazard it is. So that man had to move into this spot and realize that there's a button that he's got to press in order to get out. What does this mean? This means that R. Kelly was actively locking people up in his bedroom and refusing to let them leave. Oh, how do we know? How do we know? The photos of the master bedroom. Because after this man moved in 2001 and the law enforcement showed up to take photos of said environment to compare it to the background of the illicit sex tape. The photos of the master bedroom presented by prosecutors included close-ups of the escape button and the smoke detector on the ceiling where the new owner said he found a small hidden video camera. So they literally took pictures of the escape button that R. Kelly had customized and installed for his master bedroom. Keep telling me he's innocent. Keep telling me. It lets me know that you and his IQ are the same. 79. We went over his IQ. I think it might have been day 1. We went over his IQ. Yeah, it was day 1. Okay. An escape button? Excuse me. I'm sorry. Let me make my way to the bush. Is there any room in the bush? Let's go.
It was gone.
Let me just go in the bush and weep. Let me just go in the bush and weep. I just have to go in the bush and weep. Really. I don't understand. I swear to God, I don't understand.
Okay. So government witnesses, this government witness in particular further says that after he moved into R. Kelly's former home, he never allowed R. Kelly back into the property. Now, with that, the prosecutor wraps up its questions and they allow the defense to begin cross-examination. So, boom, here we are in cross-examination of the man who purchased R. Kelly's home right after R. Kelly, right? So he was the resident after R. Kelly. And we get into cross-examination where obviously the defense gets to go in and ask questions to challenge the government's witnesses. All right, so we got R. Kelly up. His attorneys are up first here, right? And so they asked this person who purchased this home after R. Kelly, which used to be a church. How you gonna be in there and what used to be a church paying on people? Like you need to find God. Like you really need some Kanye West merchandise. I'm not one to push Kanye on nobody, but he do got some hats that say find God. Go find God. Because
Oh my God.
So R. Kelly's attorney ends up asking this man about the smoke detector that was disguised as a video camera. So this witness ends up saying that he didn't confirm whether the video camera was operable or if there were any images stored on it before he disposed of it. So that's pretty much the synopsis of what R. Kelly's attorney had to say when they cross-examined this person who purchased this residence after R. Kelly. Is like, oh, did you even see if it worked? Were there images on there? How do you even know that thing was operable? He wasn't spying on you. Girl, the fact that the camera exists means he is a creep. I don't understand how R. Kelly's attorney sleeps at night. I really don't get it, because she wouldn't be making these excuses if it was her daughter. If her daughter stayed in a room where there was a camera hidden inside of a smoke detector, she wouldn't be like, oh my God, girl, did it work? Did you even see if there were images stored on it? How do you know you were unsafe? Like, girl, that wouldn't be it. Like, that just wouldn't be it. But nonetheless, that is what R. Kelly's attorney is pretty infamous for, is for dogging out victims. She has a reputation of representing rapists and sometimes getting them off. She got Bill Cosby out. Guess what? She ain't getting R. Kelly out. R. Kelly still got a whole nother trial to face in Minnesota for solicitation. But child, don't get me started. Don't get me started. Let's get into Reshona Landfair, okay? The 5th witness of the government to take the stand since the trial has started, but this is the 3rd person to take this stand today. So actually, you know what? Let me catch my breath, right? Let me catch my breath. Yesterday, I was moving a little too fast. I was talking too fast. And I got a little tongue-tied and I really couldn't keep my mind clear. And I want to make sure I present this information with regards to Reshona Landfair. I want to make sure I present it right and correctly and I don't feel rushed in my head. Because sometimes I do feel rushed because I feel like y'all want everything from me at one time and I just be trying to spit it all out at once. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to see y'all in 120 seconds. It's just 2 minutes. It's just 2 minutes. We'll be right back, and we're going to get into the testimony of the girl from the tape, the testimony of Sparkle's niece, the testimony of the government's star witness that is Reshona Landfair. You definitely don't want to miss this. So make sure you drop some pancakes in the chat. Make sure you hit thumbs up, and if you haven't already subscribed, what the fuck are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Let's go.
So let's see if you're really about it. If you've been serious about what you've been saying about wanting to support more Black-owned businesses, here's your chance. I found a spot for us to grab our hats, hoodies, affordable electronics, phone accessories, and gadgets from. It's over on edwersow.com. That's EDWERSOW.com. Grab something for your hubby, your wife. Hey, I ain't encouraging that side chick behavior, but it's just in time for the holidays. So head on over there and grab your AirPod cases, hoodies, and affordable electronics. That's edwersow.com, EDWERSOW.com. And I'll see you over there. It's time to face it, boo. Your product needs more exposure. If you want to see your ad here on my channel, be sure to shoot an email over to yt.theplainestjane@gmail.com and let's chat. But if you're new in my neighborhood here on YouTube, hey, I'm the Plainest Jane, and I provide coverage and commentary on trending stories, viral events, and Black culture. Definitely appreciate you stopping through and hitting that subscribe button if you like more of my particular brand of syrup.
Oh, I see somebody in the chat. They said, I don't know how his wife sat quietly by his side. Who is this? Miss Tori 14? Very good comment. Very good comment. Where you at? I don't know how his wife sat quietly by his side for 13 years and allowed this. Speak on it. Speak on it, because I've been giving his wife the side eye for a very, very long time. Let me tell you that from the moment I heard her say, and she was saying it like she was really arguing with somebody, Andrea Kelly, right? She says, proudly Andrea Kelly, right? Won't go back to her maiden name. She says, I'm not getting rid of my last name because pa 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 pa. And she, neck rolling, and I can understand Kevin Hart's wife not wanting to get rid of that last name. The difference between Kevin Hart and R. Kelly is Kevin Hart got allegations and people think right about him, right? But not forcing himself onto anyone, and certainly not a child. And Kevin Hart's wife was actually by his side in the trenches while he was broke, motivating him and all that, putting in that work and encouragement in him. And then he blew up and decided to leave her. And so her keeping that name benefits her, because she's like, I put in the work. Would you even be where you are right now if I wasn't there motivating you and encouraging you? So yeah, keep that name for the sake of money, status, and everything else. But we're talking about deciding to willingly keep the last name of a serial child predator and rapist. And you're arguing with people on the internet talking about, I'm not getting rid of my last name because why are you fighting to keep? Do you know how quick I would be trying to erase something like that for me? Do you not know I'm from here in Baltimore, where a woman who owns a daycare literally got 2 calls from 2 different parents who said, your husband is molesting my child. Do you know that woman went and shot her husband twice? To stay connected to a predator in such fashion. And so as soon as Drea said that, I decided to zoom in on her, or really just give her the side eye and squint, and everything she said afterwards just doesn't add up. She was living in the home when R. Kelly moved children in there. How were children living in there, locked in bedrooms and all these other things, and you just ain't know nothing? And you were a grown woman and you didn't see anything? Oh, I think the fuck not. I don't think so. You knew something. You knew a lot. You wanted the money. You refused to say anything then. You refused to separate yourself then. And you still refused to drop his last name. Do you think that if you even dropped his last name right now, that people would forget who you are? They wouldn't. It would be you taking the moral high road. It would be you showing us that you have a little bit of ethic, a little bit of moral. But no, I'm going to keep his last name. And whatever her reason was, it didn't make any fucking sense. I can't. I have to find that video again. I posted it on the NNO radio page on Instagram, and I have to find it again. But her reasoning really just made me look at her like, are you fucking stupid? What is wrong with you? Why fight to keep a predator's last name? Are you sick? You clearly are, because I've been seeing these little videos of you shaking that little tight ass of yours online, and it looks like something's wrong. It looks like you need some goddamn help. But nonetheless, something's wrong with her. Why? Because she knows more than she's leading on. Yeah, she got on the docuseries and she cried and shed some tattoo tears. But baby, she knows way more than what she's saying. She was complicit. She was complicit. But ain't no way. Okay? Ain't no way. Something wrong with have any of y'all seen the videos of her on Instagram lately? Looking like let me bring it back down. Let me bring it back down. Now we've got to get into this Sparkle's niece testimony, right? Reshona Landfair. How much is it? Ooh, it's a couple pages, but I gotta tell y'all everything. I gotta tell you everything. So, okay, we coming down off of a high, aka my rant. Okay, let's get into this R. Kelly remix. Let's get into the Baltimore Club mix. Y'all love it. I can't lie, I love it. And let's go ahead and get into this again. If you haven't taken a moment to hit the thumbs up button, what is you waiting for? Don't make me fight you, because I will. I will mollywop you and throw you off the bus. Hit the thumbs up. Let's get into this remix and let's get into Reshona.
Baltimore, I can't see you. Where you at?
Yo, killing me with this. I can't help.
Robert.
You're killing me, man. This ain't not about music. I'm trying to have a relationship with my kids, and I can't do it. Y'all just don't want to believe the truth. You don't want to believe it.
At this point, we briefly pause the interview to give Kelly a moment.
Man, y'all killing me with this. Y'all killing me with this. Y'all killing me with this. Y'all killing me. Y'all trying to kill me. Y'all killing me with this. Y'all killing me with this. Y'all killing me with this. Y'all killing me with killing me, man. Trying to kill me. Killing me, man. Trying to kill me. You don't want to believe it. Trying to kill me. I hope this camera keep going. Stupid R. Kelly. Fight for my life. Stupid R. Kelly. Do it. Stupid R. Kelly. Fight for my life. Stupid R. Kelly. Do it.
Yes. Okay. We know that mix be hitting. Someone says, why does it matter if she keeps his last name? Her kids have his name. You know, it would be different if Andrea Kelly would have kept his last name in silence, right? And just decided to never change her last name and say anything about it. The thing about Andrea Kelly is she's an attention whore. And she decided to make an announcement and make this whole online situation and explain to us, as if we asked, because nobody asked, about why she's keeping his last name. And again, it was argumentative, right? She started the video off with, I'm keeping his last name because this, that, and the third. And imagine trying to keep what a predator has left behind, something that you inherited based off of marriage, right? And wanting to join yourself with this person. And then this person turns out to be a serial child molester, predator, rapist, all of these things. And instead of you saying, let me relinquish my connection with this vile individual, you decide to take to the internet and aggressively roll your neck and say, I'm keeping it. It's mine. This predator's as if that name gives or does anything for you. That's why. That's why it's so creepy. That's why it's so crazy. As a woman with kids, with R. Kelly, did he ever touch his kids? Did he not? I don't look, that it's not that I don't know, it's that's a whole nother story for discussion. But his ex-wife, Drea Kelly, got some issues. And I've given her the side eye for a long time, and she's been complicit in a lot of this mess. It's not even like she's a stranger or his aunt or his great-great-grandmother who was never in the house, who had no clue, and it's just, I'm just trying to defend my baby, Robert. No, you were in the house. You know, you saw, you have knowledge. You were complicit. That's why. That's why. You saw it. Matter of fact, you were a part of it. You claim that you were held bound, and if he was mistreating you and you were his whole grown ass wife, what do you think he was doing to all of the different teenagers and minors he was moving in? You know what he was doing because you were a part of it. And some of the testimony of some of the accusers say that you were involved in some of the sexual acts. That all, because you know R. Kelly liked to have orgies and threesomes and stuff. I don't think that those accusers are lying. You were complicit. You even participated to an extent, and then you got under there and want to keep his name too. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Rumors that she was again participating. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But nonetheless, okay, they say she knew about Aaliyah. Exactly. Some people were saying that either she slept with Reshona. Some people were saying that Drea Kelly slept with Reshona. Some people were saying that Drea Kelly slept with Sparkle. There are two different stories out here, right? I don't think that everybody is lying, and I don't think that a grown-ass woman with intuition didn't sense what was going on. Okay? Okay? That's that. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and get into Sparkle's niece, aka Reshona Landfair's testimony. Start off. Reshona was wearing a white blazer with long braids. She was on the stand for over 4 hours. Over 4 hours, she was on the stand. That's a long time. Now, a lot of people have been waiting for this moment because she didn't cooperate with the authorities back in 2008 or 2002 because she wasn't willing to say anything, right? However, Sparkle's niece, Reshona Landfair, was the center of the child pornography case of the 2000s. Now, before we get into it, something I was telling y'all yesterday is that what I was telling you yesterday was that she's expected to testify about R. Kelly repeatedly sexually abusing her when she was a teenager and R. Kelly persuading her to lie to the authorities about it. She and her family denied it at that time, and she was never called to testify, and her family was paid off and pressured to lie about it. Okay? Here is what someone says, I'm glad to finally hear her side. Yeah, it does make sense. Okay? So, to illustrate, the prosecution decided to illustrate how young she looked at the time of these sexual encounters. They had Reshona identify 2 photos of herself from her childhood. Now, the first photo was taken when she was a sophomore in high school. It showed her on one knee holding a basketball and smiling. The other one was a headshot from when she was in a music group at the age of 13 years old, which was around the time that she said she had first met R. Kelly. Now, when the prosecution asked Reshona if she could identify R. Kelly in court, she responded, "Yes, I can." And the judge ordered everyone in the courtroom to remove their face masks. At that point, Reshona was able to identify R. Kelly by his navy blue blazer. Okay? So, I see some comments in the chat, and I want to respond so bad, but I don't want to throw off what it is that I have to say. There are 600 of us here and 400 thumbs up. Hit thumbs up. Okay?
Hey, thanks for letting me keep you connected and in the know with what's happening in the Black world. Don't forget to smash on that like button for support and for more Black news.
So Reshona starts off with her birth year, her age. She's born in 1984. She's 37 years old. As of today, she was raised in the Chicago suburbs of Oak Park. She describes the good times when she was in a Christian hip hop group. She says, quote, "It was an amazing time. We were very successful. I was living my dream and I was happy," end quote. Now, she was touring with the group, and at that time, because she was traveling with the group, she was being homeschooled. So she says that she was familiar with R. Kelly through R&B music. So clearly she was listening to the radio and CDs or whatever at that time, or cassettes, right? We talk about she was listening to cassettes. She was starstruck. She says she was very starstruck when she met R. Kelly in 1996, especially after he attended a performance of her music group. Again, this was a hip hop gospel music group, and R. Kelly gave her some feedback. She says, quote, "On the stand, it made me feel happy that such a successful person was saying I was gifted. So I was excited," end quote. Now, mind you, R. Kelly came to see her while her and her girl gospel group were performing. She was 12 to 13 at the time. R. Kelly gave her a compliment and she was enthralled. I mean, she was flabbergasted by it, right? So her mother and her father were musicians at the time. Her father is now deceased, may I add. The prosecution alleges that R. Kelly took advantage of her music career ambitions for sexual favors. So in exchange for sexual favors, he utilized and manipulated her music career ambitions, is what the government is saying here, right? So also, she ends up identifying photos of R. Kelly's studio, which she said she first began visiting with her aunt Stephanie, who is Sparkle, right? She says she first began visiting R. Kelly's studio with her aunt during circa 1996 through 1997, at which time she would have been 12 or 13 years old, right? She says, this is what Sparkle Nieces says. This is where it gets spicy, okay? Sparkle's niece, Reshona Landfair, ends up saying that it was her aunt, Sparkle, who first introduced her to R. Kelly after the gospel concert that he's seen. She said that they met backstage and that later, they later met again a few months after R. Kelly came to a performance put on by Reshona's hip hop gospel group. Okay. So she says, and I quote on the stand, Reshona Landfair says, quote, "R. Kelly told me I did a great job. He gave me pointers on how to handle the stage. It made me feel accomplished that such a successful person was saying that I was gifted," end quote. Okay. Now, following this meeting with R. Kelly at her music group's Chicago performance, Reshona ends up saying that she started seeing R. Kelly more through her aunt Sparkle. So she continued to see R. Kelly, but it typically went through Sparkle, who Reshona says had a romantic relationship with R. Kelly at that time. Put a thumbtack in that. If you're a channel member, you already know what I put backstage and how her aunt is responding to this. It's on the membership tab. If you're a channel member, it's on the members only tab. Okay. You know, there's a regular community tab for everyone. And then there's the membership tab for people who are channel members. And I think that my cheapest membership is $199. So it's not even 8 quarters. We're going to be talking about that sometime over this weekend. Okay. So Reshona Landfair is saying, hey, my aunt Sparkle and R. Kelly, yeah, they were dating. They had a romantic relationship at the time. Okay. Reshona is saying that on the stand, she's saying that she saw the two of them often and frequently went with them to the studio with R. Kelly, right? She's kind of like a third wheel to this situation that she's talking about. At this point, the prosecution, they're putting photos in front of her face, and she began identifying pictures of R. Kelly's Chicago Tracks studio from the late 1900s. So now, here is the part that really, and I do mean really, gets crazy. Okay? Sparkle's niece, right, says that her aunt, Sparkle, told her that she should ask R. Kelly to be her godfather and that she should actually sit on his lap and rub his head and ask him to play that role in her life. So just to make things clear, Reshona Landfair, the girl from the tape, is saying, I feel like she's worth another documentary, and it should be called The Girl from the Tape. You know how Netflix be naming documentaries or docuseries? Because they had The Girl from the Photo or something like that I just watched. But nonetheless, The Girl from the Tape, a.k.a. Reshona Landfair, a.k.a. Sparkle's niece, says her own aunt, who was in a romantic relationship with R. Kelly, told her, encouraged her, prompted her to ask R. Kelly to be her godfather, and said that she should sit on his lap and rub his head and ask him to play that role in her life. Not only is something like that inappropriate for a person that is Reshona Landfair's age, but if you have a romantic relationship with him, why would you be encouraging that? And there's so many different levels and not to mention she's related to you. So then we got some incest. You know, I mean, like, I'm trying to figure out what level of disgust.
Oh my God.
I just don't know what level of disgust, like, where we really are with this. I don't get it. I don't get it. Okay? Nonetheless, she testifies that she did ask R. Kelly to be her godfather, and she says when she did it, because she did what her aunt asked. Her aunt asked her to sit on R. Kelly's lap, rub his head, ask him to play that role. When she did, R. Kelly ended up chuckling a bit, but he did say yes to being her godfather. So not only did Reshona Landfair's parents approve of this, and Sparkle, obviously, according to her testimony, but apparently what Reshona Landfair said on the stand was that her parents thought it was cool. Literally thought it was cool, in quotation marks, as it pertains to the relationship that has somehow transformed into a godfather-goddaughter relationship with Reshona Landfair. After that, after the whole godfather ordeal situation, the nature of their relationship changed. Okay. And she says, quote, "We would spend a lot of time on the phone together. And eventually he might ask me a question like, what color panties you wearing?" End quote. So, and look, moderators, if there's anybody that you need to block, just go ahead and do it. Don't, if you even got to ask yourself, should I not block? Just block them, okay? Because we really don't have time for anything like that, right? Leo, what's going on? Okay, and what is it? You sure? Are you positive? Because you're trying to interrupt this whole cipher and we doing something. We doing something over here on the camera. Look at you. Thinking it's something in my empty hand. There's nothing there. Well, I guess you're going to sit right there. All right. All right. I guess that's what we're going to do. As long as you don't get in the way, you good. Right? So, nonetheless, we have just charted into the waters of fucking phone sex R. Kelly is trying to have with a 13-year-old, right? He becomes her godfather, and right away, he starts asking her questions on the phone while she's 13 years old about what color panties she's wearing. So Reshona says R. Kelly also began asking her about her breast developing and other sexual issues, and that it eventually progressed to phone sex. R. Kelly would tell her over the phone that he was jerking off. I can't imagine being that rich and having that much money and that much access and women throwing their panties and their bras at me and feeling like my only option, or the option that I'm actually interested in having phone sex with, is a minor, which is not only morally wrong, but it's also illegal. And it's all these grown, I mean, like, it's like, look, I'm a millennial. I went to Scream tours growing up. Millennial, like Scream tour, Bow Wow, Marcus Houston, IMX, Pretty Ricky. You know, when you go to people who are heartthrobs concerts, like, women are throwing themselves at these men. And for you to say, oh, all these 35-year-olds who are well above the limit, I want the babies. I want the 12, 13, 14, 15-year-olds. You are a different type, a different breed of a sick Negro.
This is a sick Negro.
For real, something's not right. Matter of fact, a lot. It's not even that something, as if it's something singular that ain't right with you. It's a lot of stuff that ain't right with you. And I don't know if jail's going to fix it, but you damn sure deserve to be sitting back there. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Shout out to the channel member. Shout out to Tamika Johnson. Thank you so much for becoming a member. There's another person that became a member. Shout out to Monica Anderson. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Don't forget to check the membership tab so you can see exclusive posts and videos that everybody else is not able to see. Let's continue. Not sure if I need to go to the bush or not. I'm pretty sure. Oh, yeah, there's going to be another point where I'm going to need to go to the bush in a second. So I'm going to save it. Here we go. The girl from the tape, Reshona Landfair, Sparkle's niece, ends up saying that she visited R. Kelly's Chicago Tracks studio, which she had testified a little bit earlier while she was on the stand. In Chicago, she said she visited it hundreds of times in the 90s. Okay. And so now prosecution is going over some boilerplate questions to establish how well she really knew R. Kelly. They're asking her what his studio looked like, how he wore his hair, his album cover art, etc. Like they're going through these motions. Now, mind you, again, this is the girl from the tape, the government's fifth witness, the third person on the stand from the day. The first person on the stand was the retired cop who was on the case back in 2000. The second person was the person who had moved into R. Kelly's home after he lived there. The third person is the person that we're here referencing right now, which is Sparkle's niece, aka the girl from the tape, aka Reshona Landfair. Okay, so let's continue. Since Reshona had accepted the role of R. Kelly being her godfather, it was more than normal for her to be around him unsupervised. So she was about 14 years old when R. Kelly began to physically touch her. Okay? To physically touch her in a sexual way. And there's a point where the P-Hive just got so much of a tizzy earlier today because they lack comprehension. Right? So listen closely. She was 14 years old when R. Kelly began touching her in a sexual way, which does not mean that they had sex. It means that he touched her in a sexual way. It was late at night, according to her testimony. They were both alone on the couch in the studio of the Chicago Tracks building. And she says that R. Kelly began rubbing her breasts and vagina. Okay? He began rubbing her breasts and vagina. She's 14 years old. The physical contact escalated to sex acts when she was 14. Right? So someone physically touching them in a sexual way is one thing. Sexual acts are another thing. Sexual intercourse are another thing. And just to spell it out for you, someone touching you in a sexual way means that they're groping on you, they're touching you. Sexual acts may mean that you've been coerced, or you're touching something back, or you might be, and I hate to say it because it just sounds so, you might be jerking something off. You might even be sucking something. Intercourse is something that's a bit different. So the physical contact escalated to sex acts when she was 14, and R. Kelly engaged her in sexual intercourse for the first time when she was 15. She was a virgin. R. Kelly took her virginity. She testified this on the stand. And when she testified that they first had sex when she was 15 years old, the government asked, "How do you remember your exact age?" She said, "It's because it's when I lost my virginity." Again, this is the difference between sexual acts and sexual intercourse. You had the P-Hive in a whole tizzy today talking about, oh, her story changed. She said she was 15 when she lost her virginity, but she was 14 when she was performing sexual acts. You can jerk somebody off. You can suck somebody off which is what a lot of people seen in the sex tape from way back in the day, was her going down on him. A sexual act is not sexual intercourse, is not them penetrating your vagina. I mean, the fact that we have to explain these very basic concepts. Her testimony ain't right. Yeah, because he innocent, because she can't even keep her story straight, because she performed sexual acts at 14 and then turned around and said she lost her virginity at 15. Are you not embarrassed? Are you not embarrassed at your low comprehension that you're clearly loud and proud about? And the nerve of you to say, oh, well, was she 14 or was she 15? When he, at the end of the day, he violated her. Even if you felt like, oh, she said it was 14, but it was 15 or vice versa. Even if your little jacked up theory was correct, you're sitting here looking for a technicality in whether or if he violated her when she was 14 or 15. Check yourself. Because all the pee that you seek from R. Kelly, it seems to be sopping into your brain, and your brain is damp. And it's clearly not capable of thinking critically and independently. You know, because some people, I mean, hey, if you think that when a woman decides to jerk someone off or to give oral sex, if you consider that to be them losing their virginity, that's on you. Anybody who's really a woman or who really cares about or knows about women, you know that losing your virginity means that your vagina has been penetrated. That's how we consider it. Is oral sex sex? Yes. However, let's move on. The prosecution then decided, yeah, let's go to the bush. Yeah, because goddamn it, because I need to bring it down a notch. the P-Hive got me upset, me. Let's go to the bush. Wait, no, matter of fact, I'm tired of y'all.
Y'all need to stop. Y'all need to grow up. Grow up. Tired of telling y'all to grow up. Y'all need to stop it. I'm tired of it, y'all. You ain't finna wear me out.
It's some P-Hive members in the chat. Child, I can't focus long enough. The chat moving too fast. Let's go to the bush. If I see you, I'm going to argue with your stupid ass line of thinking. Because a lot of the P-Hive members, you're on bad salts. I'm wondering, what is your drug of choice? Is it meth? Is it crack? Are you sniffing glue, digesting glue? Because what's really going on?
It was gone.
Let me just go in the bush and weep. Let me just go in the bush and weep. I just have to go in the bush and weep. Really. I don't understand. I swear to God, I don't understand.
And I'm hangry. Don't play with me. I ain't ate nothing since 1:30 when I went on lunch. It was 1 p.m. It's 1:43 right now. It's been 12 hours. Please don't play with me. What's going on? All the drugs. Okay, what the member said? What did P have at? Oh, okay. Oh, somebody gonna be at the courthouse tomorrow. Okay. Okay. All right. Somebody said not the White Claw. Yes, the White Claw. It's got less calories than the regular beer. Nonetheless, let's continue. We got that out the way. We got the sex acts versus intercourse out of the way. Just to clarify the nonsense that the P-Hive decides that they want to spew. So the prosecution, the government ended up asking Reshonda how would she know what to do sexually if she's a virgin, right? Reshonda says he would tell me what to do, right? Like, he directed her. He gave her instructions. And she said, she was asked how many times around about like they had sex. She says it was an innumerable amount of times, aka it's uncountable. And then she ends up saying, in fact, it was hundreds of times that they had sex when she was between the ages of 15 and 18 years old. Hundreds of times. Yeah. Crazy. Okay. This is why I gave y'all that big trigger warning when we first started, okay? So here's where we get into the alcohol, right? According to her testimony, R. Kelly gave her alcohol for the first time when she was 14 years old. And from then, she would drink heavily, right? She said it would loosen her up and would kind of take her away from the moment. So just let that sink in for a second. She's 14 years old. You know, predators do like to use drugs, alcohol, whatever, to loosen up their victims, to throw off their judgment, right? She's 14 years old. R. Kelly is introducing her to alcohol. She's saying at that time, she was drinking heavily. So she wasn't just drinking one beer a day. She's drinking heavily. And she said it would loosen me up. It would kind of take me away from the moment. Now, think about this. Think about when you were in puppy love, or even think about just right now. If you're in a love and in a relationship that you adore, that is beneficial to you, do you really need something that takes you away from the moments you get to spend with the person that you feel like you're in love with? She was a child and she was being abused at this time, and she realized that alcohol was an escape. And so she used that alcohol to escape from the things that R. Kelly was coercing her into doing. Make sense. She also gets into explaining how they coordinated the underage sexual encounters. She said, usually I would go to R. Kelly's basketball gym. He had a basketball gym at the house. Remember, I was showing you pictures on one of the houses, because he had a couple different houses, a couple different mansions, actually. So she says, you know, usually I would go to the basketball gym, and it would be like a weekend thing. And that is how they kind of coordinated. Again, she was his goddaughter at the time. So there were certain places and locations, not to mention how her parents would literally drop her off at R. Kelly's home in Chicago at that time, because they thought of it as her spending time, spending the weekend at her godfather's house. So they're dropping her off. They're like, okay, I can't really say what they're thinking, right? Because, yeah, I'm going to keep it cute. I can't really say what her people were thinking, but according to her testimony said that, you know, her parents thought of it as her, quote, spending the weekend at my godfather's house, right? So she was always over there with him. So here's the thing. R. Kelly would suggest that the girl from the tape, Sparkle's niece, Reshona Landfair, would recruit her young friends to join them in their sexual activities. Anything more than 2 people, I call a throuple. It could be an orgy, it could be a threesome, it could be whatever the case is. R. Kelly, already having had sex with Reshona, is asking her to invite her friends into the mix too. He wants more. He's not satisfied with just her, right? It's bad enough that he's into kids, but then he's into multiple kids. Not to say that it would be okay to just find one kid and settle down with that one kid because you're still a fucking creep. But he's also looking for as many kids as possible. He's terrible. Okay? He's terrible. Put your umbrellas in the chat if you think that R. Kelly is terrible. And if you think that some R. Kelly fans are in the bushes and they might sprinkle some pee on you. Put some goddamn umbrellas in the chat. So with R. Kelly suggesting that she recruit her young friends, because she was young at the time too, to join them on their sexual journeys, right? She complied. She's a child. She's 14, 15 years old. And she says, quote, he would make in advance, like, what's up with this person? How would you feel if they were included in our sexual activities? And I told him yes. And I would basically pitch the idea, end quote. So he's talking her into getting her friends to be a part of this situation. And because she's a child, she doesn't realize she's being manipulated, and therefore she is persuading and coercing other people into being manipulated as well. She agrees to it. He's encouraging her to bring her other teenage female friends into their sexual relationship to have these threesomes. Specifically, right? She says that R. Kelly crushed on 2 other alleged victims in this case. They're both expected to testify as well. So you can expect, right? Because there were some people who were expected to testify in last year's trial as well. Some of them, things happened the day of where they just, not to say they chickened out, but they backed out at the last moment. So 2 of the victims that R. Kelly allegedly had crushes on, who were friends of Sparkle's niece, they are slated to testify in this trial as well. Okay? Hopefully they follow through. These 2 people, their names are Pinky and Brittany. Mind you, these are pseudonyms, so they aren't their real names. However, Pinky and Brittany are slated to testify as well. Okay. So Sparkle's niece says, and thank y'all for putting y'all umbrellas in the chat. I appreciate y'all. Now, Sparkle's niece says that she was between 14 and 16 years old when she began to have multiple sexual encounters with Pinky and R. Kelly. Again, Pinky is a pseudonym of a friend that she had who was also underage at the time. Reshona is testifying, yeah, I had sex with R. Kelly and Pinky at the same time. So they had a threesome. They were both underage at the time, right? Reshona and Pinky. However, Sparkle's niece, aka the girl from the tape, aka Reshona Landfair, says that they stopped after she found out that R. Kelly was seeing Pinky outside of their mutual sexual encounter. So essentially, R. Kelly was cheating on her. I hate to even normalize the term of cheating on a child. You're a grown man, you're 31 years old, and you're in a relationship with a child. And then you're cheating on the child with another child. Can somebody help me make sense of that?
It was gone.
Let me just go in the bush and weep. Let me just go in the bush and weep. I just have to go in the bush and weep. Really. I don't understand.
It was gone.
Let me just go in the bush and weep. Let me just go in the bush and weep. I just have to go in the bush and weep. Really. I don't understand. I swear to God, I don't understand.
The chat is really spicy, I see. I see a R. Kelly fan wants me to drop the phone line. I might just do it just to entertain them. Nonetheless, okay. R. Kelly had a crush on two of Reshona's friends. Reshona, again, she was between 14 and 16 years old, right? When she began having sexual encounters with the both of them, Pinky and R. Kelly. Okay? Both underage. Reshona says that was the end of their friendship. She stopped being friends with Pinky because she realized, hey, I brought you in to have sex with me and my boyfriend, who was R. Kelly, but come to find out, y'all was having sex outside of me, and I can't be friends with you anymore, right? The same turn of events and falling out happened between another victim under the pseudonym Brittany, okay? So this was something that she wasn't happy with, right? She really thought she was the only one. It seems like R. Kelly made it seem like she was the girl, the main girl, the only girl, and that really wasn't true. And it hurt her very, very young feelings and affected her very real relationships. Unfortunately. At this point in time, they go to lunch. They end up going to lunch. They come back from lunch, and then the prosecution alleges that there are 4 sex tapes that depict R. Kelly having sex with Reshona Landfair while she's underage. Now, once their relationship turned sexual, she described the relationship as having, quote, and I quote, she says, I got anything I wanted. He just made it seem like it was available to me. Not just materialistic, but emotionally. With anything I was going through, whether it was school or friends, he was there for me. End quote. So obviously, R. Kelly showered her in money and superficial stuff, right? Materialistic things. So she was just asked why in the courtroom. She was asked why she had sex with R. Kelly, and what she said was, again, we're still talking about the girl from the tape. We're talking about Reshona Landfair. We're talking about Sparkle's niece. I know some people might feel like it's repetitive, me providing clarity, but there's so many different people in terms of events in the courtroom. It only makes sense, and some people might just be dropping in. Reshona Landfair was asked why she had sex with R. Kelly, and she says, and I quote, it was out of intimidation. He was an authoritative figure. I didn't know how to respond. I didn't know how to say no. I just went along with things, and it somewhat became normal. He told me he loved me and that he would protect me, and it made me feel good. End quote. She ends up saying that she started having feelings for R. Kelly. So she went along with his request to include friends, which we spoke about earlier, him wanting her to, lure her friends into having intimate relationships, right? She was asked, well, why were you willing to do those things, right? Why were you willing to have sex with R. Kelly on camera? Why were you willing to go on camera? So on and so forth. She says, quote, I was thinking I was in love at the time, and I was being submissive. I wanted to give him what he wanted, and I didn't want to make him feel like I wasn't cooperative. Robert, he brought me jewelry. He brought me a PT Cruiser when I turned 16. I told my friends that my godfather brought me a car, and I was excited to take them for a ride. End quote. Okay? So again, she was asked, why was she willing to do these things? Why was she willing to have sex on camera? Right? She says, I was thinking I was in love at that time. I was being submissive because I was in love. I wanted to give him what he wanted, and I didn't want to make him feel like I wasn't cooperative. He brought me jewelry. He brought me a PT Cruiser. When I turned 16, I told my friends that my godfather brought me a car, and I was excited to take him for a ride. End quote. The stipulation to this ride, to this vehicle, was that she couldn't have any other boys in the car. She's 16. Kelly is her godfather, who is also having sex with her, purchased her a car and told her, don't have no boys in here. You can't have no boys in here. So Reshona, while she's on the stand, she says she told no one about her relationship with R. Kelly because he soon told her, as soon as they started having sex, to keep it a secret and to not share it with anyone. She was 15 at the time. She wanted to share it, right? Because 14, sexual acts, 15, sex, penetration. She said she wanted to share it with her friends, but she didn't share it with her friends, right? Because R. Kelly kind of didn't want her to. So she confirms that R. Kelly began videotaping her. This is where we are with the testimony. She confirms that R. Kelly began videotaping her engaging in sexual acts with him from the time that she was 14 years old. She confirms that there are 3 separate instances at R. Kelly's Lakeview mansion. She said R. Kelly would set up a camcorder and he would adjust the lights. So, baby, what this sounds like to me is that he was the producer. He set up the camcorder and he set up some lights. He made sure y'all got the picture perfect sight. That's it. That's it. The prosecution has Reshona identify still images from 2 videos allegedly filmed in R. Kelly's bedroom and living room. R. Kelly's lawyer, we know that is attorney Jennifer Bongine. She asked to see the exhibit, right? Because she's identifying still images from 2 videos. Here go what the prosecution says. We can't provide it to you. It's contraband. We can show it to you. We can't show it to you. Like what? She's asked, how old were you when the acts depicted in those sexual encounters occurred? Right? How old were you when these occurred? Reshona Landfair answers and says she's 14 years old. She says she felt uncomfortable. But she adds that she went along with it because he was an authoritative figure over her and she didn't feel comfortable saying no. So here we go. The prosecution asked her, did R. Kelly ever record you two engaged in sexual activity? She responds, yes. The prosecution says, well, when did it start? She says, when I was 14. The prosecution began asking Reshona why she agreed to be videotaped if she felt uncomfortable, and her response was that she thought she was, quote, giving him something that he wanted and making the sex tapes. And she says, that's when I began to love him. This was a relationship, and I thought that these were normal things that happened. So Reshona then starts to testify about 3 recordings that will be played, right? Because remember, I was telling you that there were 4 different tapes total that were submitted and referenced in court in the indictments, but there's only going to be 3 played for the jury in the rest of the court. Reshona testifies about the 3 recordings that will be played for the jury of her and R. Kelly having sex at his George Street house, in his bedroom, and also in his living room. So, you know, she's prompted to spit out if she's watched the videos in preparation for her testimony. We know she has. That's just part of the regular process when you're preparing for a trial, right? So she's asked on the stand, did you watch the tapes that you're in from beginning to end? Referring to if she watched them recently. Obviously, she watched them. She's in them. But nonetheless, they were asking her, did you watch these from beginning to end? She says yes. She's also asked, did you watch them with sound? Very softly, she says yes. They also ask her, who is depicted in these videos? She says, Robert and myself. Okay. So the tapes were admitted at this time. Like all of the tapes admitted in the evidence, all those other things, they're being admitted at this time. And Reshona Landfair began telling jurors that the second video in R. Kelly's living room, this is the part where y'all gonna have to buckle your seatbelts. We about to say some nasty stuff right here. Because what she testifies to and what she describes, baby, it's trifling. She began telling jurors the second video in R. Kelly's living room shows her laying on the floor while R. Kelly gives her oral sex. R. Kelly gives her some Cristal, which is high-end champagne, telling her to refer to her genitalia as 14 years old. Reshona then says in the court that then R. Kelly started urinating on my vagina.
It was gone.
Let me just go in the bush and weep. Let me just go in the bush and weep. I just have to go in the bush and weep. Really. I don't understand. I swear to God, I don't understand.
Again, she's being shown images. The tape hasn't played for the court. Let me clarify. They haven't played this tape for the court yet. What they did is they took screenshots, almost as if you're watching any video, this video on Instagram, and you hit a screenshot from it. They're showing her still shots or screenshots from the video. And they're asking her, and the video hasn't even been played yet, what's going on in this video? Right? Just to establish some credibility. Hey, if it's really you, if you say it's really you, then tell me what's going on in the video. Obviously, if you're able to say what's going on in the video and the video hasn't been played for the jury yet and so on and so forth, she literally says, then R. Kelly started urinating on my vagina.
It was gone.
Let me just go in the bush and weep. Let me just go in the bush and weep. I just have to go in the bush and weep. Really. I don't understand. I swear to God, I don't understand.
So this is a video where she is actually heard calling R. Kelly daddy. And she says she recognizes the disc that the alleged sex tape is on due to recognizing her initials and the date on the disc. So her voice is getting quieter, and actually it's starting to break, which is really interesting because up until now, thus far, Reshona Landfair, honestly, she has been remarkably calm and poised up until now. Now is when her voice is starting to crack and break, and honestly, understandably so, having to describe how you were urinated on at all, but by R. Kelly. She describes another video in which is from the Colorado room that I was telling you earlier. Remember, I was telling you when we were talking about the man who moved into R. Kelly's home after him, and they came out and took the pictures and the smoke detectors with the cameras and the escape button in the room. You had to hit a button in order to exit the room. That room was actually where another one of the videos, because all four of the videos, there are 4 videos that are a part of this trial, right? Video 4 won't be shown, but videos 1 through 3 will be shown. And the background of one of these videos had a log cabin. There was a log cabin panel background in it. And so this is where Reshona ends up speaking about this setting that the retired Chicago detective who took the stand prior, who was on the stand at the end of yesterday going into today, that is what they were actually able to reference. That's the video that they saw, right? So the prosecution, the government ends up asking why R. Kelly appears to hand her money. Why does R. Kelly appear to hand you money at the beginning of this video? Reshona Landfair begins to cry. Audibly. You can hear her crying. She says, after a long pause, right? They say she kind of like whips her hair back a little bit. But she had on a white blazer and long braids. She's asked why R. Kelly hands her money in the beginning of this video. And she says, because, and I quote, because if anybody saw the tape or if it was released for some reason, he would say I was a prostitute. So he gave her money in the beginning of the video to try to make it appear as if Reshona was a prostitute. Okay. She's literally sniffling. She's crying. R. Kelly is literally shaking his head at this time. Okay. Then Reshona's asked, right, where R. Kelly stored the alleged sex tapes featuring her, right? This is where we get R. Kelly's 2 co-defendants to be implicated. We talking about Brown. We talking about McDavid. R. Kelly ain't on trial by itself. There are 3 of them. Kelly, McDavid, and Brown. Kelly is clearly implicated here. But then we get into Reshona Landfair actually implicating Brown and McDavid. Here we go. She says, when she was asked about where the sex tapes featuring her were stored, she said they were kept in a gym bag or in the log cabin area of the basement of R. Kelly's house after we were done recording. Then she brings up Milton Brown, okay? She implicates him. She says this is, this is R. Kelly's former personal assistant. So Mr. Brown and R. Kelly, they were the ones who were handling the gym duffel bag with the alleged sex tapes, right? And, just being a bystander of child pornography, handling the child pornography, it puts you in that tough, disgusting spot as well. Again, he's handling the Jim duffel bag with the alleged sex tapes, which is a crime. Okay. So she then says that Child Protective Services first began investigating her relationship with R. Kelly in 2000, but she denied it because he told her that R. Kelly told her that he would be ruined if it came out. R. Kelly told her that that was something that she needs to take to the grave with her. She says that, look, I denied it. I was afraid that something bad would happen to Robert if anyone found out about the nature of our relationship. She also says she was protecting him and that she didn't want her parents to find out either. Mind you, she's like 15 years old at this time, right? So of course she's making stupid decisions. She's starstruck. R. Kelly's a celebrity. Like, come on. So R. Kelly told her, based off of how she was answering questions to the authorities and law enforcement, R. Kelly told her that she was doing a good job answering the law enforcement's questions. She then testified about how she found out by her aunt, Sparkle, in 2001 that a sex tape, not the sex tape, a sex tape, because they had multiple sex tapes. Her aunt, Sparkle, was able to call her in 2001 and told her that there was a sex tape that was finna leak and it's public. So Reshona Landfair, her parents asked her about the tape, and she said, of course, she denied everything, right? And R. Kelly continued to stress how important it was for her to continue to deny all of the sex tape allegations. R. Kelly seemed pretty afraid. He seemed pretty shaken up at that time as well. So with her being a child, with her being 15 years old, she just wanted to protect her man, her boyfriend, like whatever. Like, she was a child. I'm not judging her, but you know how puppy love can be, even when you're appropriately dating people in or around about your age range. So we're talking about like puppy love and naive, gullible nature on a child towards an adult, right? So R. Kelly continued to stress how important it was that she denies everything. Her being 15, trying to protect her man, R. Kelly, And R. Kelly went as far as to come up with a game plan that he explained to her and her parents about the sex tape. And this was a meeting at a hotel in the Chicago suburb of Oak Park. So this meeting was set up in 2002 by R. Kelly's former manager and current co-defendant, Derrel McDavid. Now we have McDavid implicated as well. Drop some pancakes in the chat. We'll be right back to get into the rest.
So let's see if you're really about it. If you've been serious about what you've been saying about wanting to support more Black-owned businesses, here's your chance. I found a spot for us to grab our hats, hoodies, affordable electronics, phone accessories, and gadgets from. It's over on edwerso.com. That's edwersow.com. Grab something for your hubby, your wife. Hey, I ain't encouraging that side chick behavior, but it's just in time for the holidays. So head on over there and grab your AirPod cases, hoodies, and affordable electronics. That's edwersow.com, edwersow.com. And I'll see you over there. It's time to face it, boo. Your product needs more exposure. If you want to see your ad here on my channel, be sure to shoot an email over to yt.theplainestjane@gmail.com and let's chat. But if you're new in my neighborhood here on YouTube, hey, I'm the Plainest Jane, and I provide coverage and commentary on trending stories, viral events, and Black culture. I definitely appreciate you stopping through and hitting that subscribe button if you like more of my particular brand of syrup.
So how about Leo literally ran out of the room while we were on break? Leo plotted this escape I realized when he ran out, he was plotting the entire time. I'm going to get him. That's okay. He's not getting the second half of his payment. Okay? Let's get into this because R. Kelly gets to begging and pleading on his knees in just a moment. Okay? All right. So let's continue where we left off. And if you haven't already taken a moment to hit the thumbs up button, make sure you do so. It's free. It takes me a lot of time to work my 9 to 5, do all of this research, put all this stuff in chronological order. Look, it really does take a lot. And due to the fact that I'm talking about rape and sexual abuse and all this stuff, I get paid literally pennies from YouTube when I do this stuff. So hitting the thumbs up button is free. It helps more people see it to help me make a little bit more money. If you want to send a Cash App or a Super Chat, it's appreciated, but definitely not required. But let's continue where we left off. Okay? So Reshona, the girl from the tape, right? Sparkle's niece, she's testifying about how she found out that there's a public sex tape of her and R. Kelly that is out there, on its way out there. It's finna exist, right? She denies everything. R. Kelly continues to stress to her how important it is for her to continue to deny the allegations regardless of the truth. R. Kelly's afraid at this time. McDavid, right, who was also on trial with R. Kelly, sets up this meeting in 2002. This is R. Kelly's former manager with R. Kelly, him, Reshona, and her parents, okay? So R. Kelly sat down with Reshona and her parents and told her parents that it was true, that he had been having sex with their daughter and asked that they keep it quiet. Okay? Like, you're literally telling these people, I had sex with your daughter. Okay. And not only are you saying, I had sex with your daughter, but keep it quiet. Keep it on the hush-hush. Her father, right, Reshona Landfair, her father became hysterical. He began making his way to storm out, not downtown, right? He wasn't making his way downtown, walking fast, face. That's not what he was doing. He was actually making his way to storm out while R. Kelly literally had dropped down to his knees. He was grabbing his head, apologizing profusely, and begging for forgiveness. How do you, and not to mention the fact that he was still having sex with her, right? At this point in time, right, her dad is crying. Reshona Landfair, Sparkle's niece, the girl from the tape, her dad was crying. He's upset. He's on his way to storm out of the room, and he's responding to R. Kelly and saying, I can't help you. I can't help you. R. Kelly's begging for forgiveness. He's on his knees, all this other stuff. And he's like, look, I can't help you. I cannot help you. That's his response. Okay. Now, shortly after this meeting, Reshona Landfair said that she and her parents left for the Bahamas and Cancun at R. Kelly's suggestion. So R. Kelly suggested that they go to Cancun in the Bahamas. And according to Reshona Landfair, she says there was a lot of negative attention happening around the videotape, and Robert wanted us to leave the country and to not have any attention on us. End quote, right? So R. Kelly, essentially, he did not want the family to be accessible to law enforcement or the press at that time. And she says, quote, it was not a fun vacation, end quote. Okay? So here's the thing. Here's the thing. Okay? While they were on the trip, she told her parents not to do anything to get R. Kelly in trouble, and also told them that she loved him. She loved R. Kelly. eventually, right? Let me just repeat that. Let me just repeat that. While they were on this trip that R. Kelly sent them on, R. Kelly done been begging them for their forgiveness. She told her parents, don't do anything to get Robert in trouble. I love him. While on the trip, her parents eventually come to the conclusion that they were going to do essentially what Reshona kind of wanted them to do, and basically stay on R. Kelly's side. Okay? Y'all understand how crazy that is? But also, her parents had lost their jobs, and they couldn't afford lawyers, and they didn't want to lose her too. Because look, they felt like, look, what we do know was on the table is the probability of the child being taken away because of the heap of allegations that existed regarding her having sexual relationship with a full-blown grown man. Right? And then seemingly being okay with it by having not reported anything to the police. Remind you, they weren't working with the authorities, which means they didn't put in their own complaint about their child having sex with this grown man, which means that anytime CPS or Child Protective Services wants to pull up and hold them accountable or potentially remove the child from the home, because that's what happens, that was a probability or a factor that was on the table as well. So that's that. Okay. Whole time though, she was frequently in communication with R. Kelly while she was in the Bahamas on vacation with her parents. The entire time she was in frequent communication while she was in the Bahamas, Cancun. Okay. And she says basically with regards to that is, I just let Robert know that I was following his instructions. In a sense, I was kind of working on them to be in his favor. And I was just begging and pleading with them. End quote. Okay. So also, while she's in Mexico, she got a tattoo. She got a tattoo with R. Kelly's name and a heart around it, y'all. Let me find the bush. Where's the bush? Can somebody make some room? Can somebody make some room in the bush? She went and got a tattoo. I'm not shaming her. I'm just in disbelief. Lord.
It was gone.
Let me just go in the bush and weep. Let me just go in the bush and weep. I just have to go in the bush and weep. Really. I don't understand. I swear to God, I don't understand.
A tattoo, baby. Lord have mercy. They out there trying to hide out because of the sex tape. She's getting a tattoo. The parents don't. The parents aren't around to say, yeah, that's not a good idea. We're out here because we lost our jobs. We don't want to lose you. The tattoo. Okay? And then when she got back to the States, she showed that tattoo to Robert. Robert wasn't with it. Okay? Robert told her that tattoo is a problem and had Milton Brown take her to the tattoo artist's house to get it covered up. Okay? We got both people who are implicated at this point. Okay? McDavid was implicated earlier because he was handling the bag full of child pornography, VHS/DVDs, if they were around at the time. And then we have Brown, who decided to take her to go get a cover-up. But there are other implications here as well. Okay. Let's keep going. If you haven't already taken a moment, there are 685 of us in here at 2:30 in the morning. Thank God I'm off tomorrow. I got tickets to go see Kevin Hart. So I requested off tomorrow. Praise God. Won't he do it? Because I ain't going to be able to wake up tomorrow because I'm sitting here giving y'all this information. So hit thumbs up because it's free. Or send $3 because it's just $3 to send $3. Nonetheless, let's keep going, right? Like I said, Robert was not okay with this tattoo, right? He feared that with an investigation underway and still in commission with regards to the sex tape presence and allegations, that it could further tie her to him when she was still underage. Now, Reshonda says that after she was subpoenaed to testify in Cook County, that R. Kelly told her to stay loyal and deny that it was her on the tape. So R. Kelly paid for an attorney to go with her to the appearance as well. Now, she says she was put under oath before a grand jury, and she's asked by the prosecution literally today in court, were you truthful? She says no. Prosecution says, what did you tell them was not true? She says that I was not involved with R. Kelly sexually and that we had never made any videotapes. She says she was uncomfortable lying to a 2002 grand jury that she wasn't the one in the video, but she says she did it for many reasons, including her attempt to protect R. Kelly. She was asked if there were any other reasons that she was uncomfortable, and she said, I also didn't want that person on the tape to be me. I didn't want that person on the tape to be me. I was ashamed, is what she said. So she then acknowledges that in exchange for her testimony, that she has been granted immunity from prosecution for perjury. Again, you know, perjury is when you're lying to the courts. It's when you're not being truthful. And obviously she wasn't being truthful back then. And she's been granted immunity for that. And I think that this kind of falls into the first expert witness that they brought up about the behaviors and the characteristics of victims of sexual abuse and assault, how and why their responses or their revelations of abuse are so delayed. And that's what an expert witness is. I had somebody leave a comment under the video and said, oh, they were an expert witness and they didn't know R. Kelly. Sorry if you hurt my stomach growl because I'm hungry. But yeah, I had somebody leave a comment and says, how are they an expert witness and they never even met R. Kelly? That the definition of an expert witness is not people who know the plaintiff or the defendant. The definition of an expert witness is somebody who can provide you additional context to the behavior or the happenings that are a part of the trial. In this case, we're talking about victims of sexual assault or abuse. So an expert witness will help you understand the behavior if it's not 1 + 1 = 2. And if people want to say, well, why did you wait so long? There's someone that's going to come in to explain to you why that sort of delayed behavior, or to explain to you the nature of the behavior, right? It's no different than somebody that writes bad checks and somebody that's in court for fraud, right? Or they're forging checks. You'll have a handwriting analysis that will look at the two different pictures and tell you how and why that handwriting is different. You don't have to know the defendant in a case in order to be an expert witness. Your job is to provide some contextual information and to explain the behavior of the individuals of the situation with regards to the case, right? So I hope that makes sense. And I explained it to that person in the comments. Okay. So let's continue. I see there's a couple different members who have joined the channel, and thank you so much. Okay. I appreciate y'all. Oh my God, what's going on? Charlene, girl, seek help. Seek some help right now. I said beef, hot wings. Girl, it said keep your head up, R. Kelly. God know these people. The stiff-necked people. Keep Jesus Christ. Took all the many ways to stop them to enter into heaven. And the woman and girl and boy is trying there to stop. Charlene, what the fuck is you trying to say? Hold on, let's try it again, y'all. She said, keep your head up, R. Kelly. God know these people, the stiff-necked people. Keep Jesus Christ. Took all the many ways to stop them to enter into heaven. And the woman and girl and boy is trying there to stop, sign, race, flag. First of all, let me tell you this right now. I'm going to need you, R. Kelly supporters, to stop calling on the blood of Jesus. Stop calling on God to rescue R. Kelly. Y'all calling on God to help R. Kelly not be guilty and shit. R. Kelly is not, God is not answering y'all R. Kelly prayers. I promise you, he's sending y'all to spam and junk every fucking time. Why y'all keep wasting my good and Savior Jesus Christ? Why are you wasting his time with R. Kelly requests? Like God ain't see what the fuck he was doing for over 2 decades. I can't stand and understand why y'all put R. Kelly and God and Jesus and the Savior in the same sentence. The other day, one of y'all put R. Kelly and Emmett Till in the same sentence. I say, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? Do y'all even understand how Venn diagrams work? Oh, they trying to do R. Kelly like they did Emmett Till. Excuse me? What? Dear God, please help this man who be raping the kids get off. How do you fucking realistically pray like that? How? Like, how do you conjure up the audacity? God is not paying you no fucking mind when you're trying to talk to him about R. Kelly. I can promise you that. I know this. I need y'all to get well soon. Sooner than later, baby, because I don't know how much more I can tolerate from this beehive here. It's the beehive. God got hunger to cure and homelessness and you know and poverty and racism. You know, hopefully God trying to help get the teachings of masturbations out of the public school system, and y'all trying to bother him with R. Kelly shit. Get real. Please help God prioritize better and stop bothering him with y'all pissy ass demands to get R. Kelly free. Because I'm going to let you know right now, it ain't fucking happening. It's not happening. Please stop that shit. Please. I mean, I don't know what's worse, God or Emmett Till. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck is wrong?
Ooh, stay positive. Okay, I will. You know, I had to throw a little shade. I'm Shady Boo.
Yeah. Y'all need some mental evaluations. You really do. You really do. And I hope you get them soon. Let me continue. So, Sparkle's niece acknowledged that in exchange for her testimony, she's been granted immunity from prosecution for perjury, right? We continue with her testimony as she sat on the stand for well over 4 hours. She said in her testimony that R. Kelly's attorney, his legal team, collected 2 pieces of evidence from her that she had to turn over. One of them was a silver cross necklace that was visible on the sex tape, as well as her passport, which had a photo of her wearing the same. I don't know why R. Kelly or his legal team thought that by taking somebody's passport, that the photo on the passport wouldn't be available anymore. But that's what they thought. That's what was going on. And those are the things that they collected from her. Let me just give you a reminder. I do have the images of her in the necklace, and I'm going to post it on the members only community tab sometime between today and tomorrow. So those are some of the perks that you get when you are a part of the membership. Is when I have information, just like y'all got some information that I still haven't disclosed that I plan on talking about publicly some point this weekend about what the family of one of the folks who testified today, how their family feels about it. And when I tell you it's full of drama, it's full of drama. That's already posted backstage. But I'll post the necklace backstage between today and tomorrow as well. So she continues with her testimony and saying that she moved into R. Kelly's mansion in Olympia Fields. Remember, we were talking about the Olympia Fields mansion in the New York trial. So she moved into his mansion while the case was pending, but after he was acquitted, their relationship changed for the worse, she said, right? Case is going on. She's living there. Soon as he gets acquitted, their relationship changed for the worse, as far as other women being involved and as far as abuse coming into play, right? She gets to detailing some of the abuse that she experienced at the hands of R. Kelly. Now, R. Kelly's attorney objects at this point. They go into a sidebar. However, whatever was going on in that sidebar, Reshonda was still able to continue. She gets into the details of the abuse. And shout out to Georgia King for becoming a channel member. I appreciate you. And check out the members only tab, okay? So you can see them exclusive posts, right? You get early access into the stuff that I'm not dishing out to the other folks until Sunday. Maybe even Monday, I'm not sure. But nonetheless, R. Kelly's attorney objects. They go into a sidebar, but she still continues, right? She talks about the abuse and says R. Kelly abused her from the age of 17 until the time she left him when she was 24 years old. She said that the abuse involved being spanked and hitting. She also mentioned how R. Kelly controlled her and wouldn't allow her to work or leave. So when she was asked how the spankings and abuse made her feel, she said it made her feel horrible. Now, Reshona says she didn't try to leave R. Kelly, with whom she lived in the Chicago suburbs with well into her early 20s. She said she didn't leave him because, quote, sometimes that abuse would come from her trying to leave, end quote. Okay. Shout out to El House for becoming a channel member. I appreciate you so much. And thank you for becoming a member. I'm hearing the P-Hive is in the chat. Listen, at this point, y'all are making me feel like as soon as I'm done my points, I'm going to drop the link and let y'all talk. Because if you really got something to explain as to how and why R. Kelly is innocent, I want to hear it. I know R. Kelly ain't innocent, but I know that y'all lie to yourselves every day by saying that he is innocent. So look, listen closely and listen carefully. I'm off tomorrow. If you're a part of the P-Hive and you're in this chat and you're in the bushes, keep your eye on the chat because I'm going to drop the link for you to call in so you can explain yourself. And we can talk. We can talk. Okay? So, she tried to leave, right? Several times. And he would get abusive when she did. So this is the reason why she wasn't as motivated to leave. Okay. In 2014, R. Kelly actually helped her rent her own place in University Park and helped her to get a car to go to work. He paid for it in part with a check that said settlement on it. Okay. She was then asked by the prosecution, did you have any kind of settle agreement with R. Kelly? She responded, no. She was then asked why she finally started coming clean about her relationship with R. Kelly to law enforcement. And she only started coming forward a few years ago. She paused, right? Again, this is something she wasn't cooperative with law enforcement 2 decades ago. Now, all of a sudden, she's coming forward. They're asking her why. She says, because I'm exhausted with living with his lies. End quote. So that is what she had to say as she was on the stand. Okay? So that literally concludes the direct examination. It is said that McDavid's attorney is going to have the first jab at Reshona Landfair tomorrow. Vagina, obviously, who is R. Kelly's attorney, is going to have a stab at her tomorrow. I'm honestly not looking forward to that. I can't even lie. Tomorrow is August the 19th. Okay? And what I do think is that somebody said, I don't see when he had time to write songs because he was doing all this dirt. Exactly. When did he have time to write any goddamn song? Okay. I see from somebody that the Grown Little Boy Show is in here, and I just caught wind of their channel earlier today. So shout out to them for being in the chat. Shout out to you because I definitely came across your channel today. I liked what I saw. So shout out to you. Make sure y'all subscribe to that channel as well. Here's what we can expect tomorrow. And I'm going to drop the link in a second in case any of the little pissy ass P-Hive members want to come through. Cool. Cool. Come through. Let's talk. We can talk. Honestly, we don't have to be disrespectful. I know a lot of the P-Hive members, they really feel like they need to disrespect people in order to get their point across, which really just proves that they don't really have any valid points to make. However, here's what we can expect for tomorrow. Okay? R. Kelly's attorney is going to cross-examine the government star witness. Sparkle's niece, Reshona Landfair. That's what's coming up. Vagina does have a little habit of being a little nasty. She can be pretty nasty to people, right? She likes to dirty up victims, right? Call them promiscuous groupie hoes, right? Even if they weren't in elementary, middle, or high school at the time. That's just what she likes to do. And that's part of the tactic, right? Not sure if the jury is going to quite be well responsive to that. Okay. At first, we had a jury that was literally half black, half white, 6 and 6. Now we got 7 and 5. Okay. 7 whites, 5 blacks. Keep that in mind as it pertains to the jury. Some of them have heard of R. Kelly, some of them haven't. That's based on what they told the courts anyway. And so we're gonna see if she's gonna be nasty, if she's going to go really hard, right, on the star witness. The jury is not really gonna take well to that, and that's my opinion. That's my opinion. Okay? That's my opinion. Not to mention, R. Kelly does have another trial coming up as well. He's got that trial coming up in Minnesota for solicitation. So don't forget about that. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to do. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and drop the link if any R. Kelly members want to call in. Right? Any R. Kelly members want to call in, go ahead and I'm going to drop the link. Okay? Call in, speak your piece. If you want to have a real debate, if you really feel like you want your king, Robert, to have a chance, if you feel like there's some points being missed, call in, be respectful, and let's debate about it. Okay? Let's chat. Let's chat. Okay? If not, then it just lets me know that all y'all be in the bushes and none of y'all even articulate a sentence to really defend y'all can. Y'all just like to copy and paste the same remedial comments in people's comment sections and chats all the time. So I'm open. I don't mind, talking. And there might even be a couple points that you make that I agree with. Some of you may feel like, well, the parents should be ashamed for XYZ. I can't say I would disagree with some of that, depending on what scenario, what context, and what person you're talking about. Okay? So, Colin, boom. You're going to drop that, right? At this time, always, before we get into the sticky note, I end up playing my commercial to say thank you and to send homage to my channel members because I really rock with y'all. I appreciate y'all. It's a little over 200 of us right now who are channel members. And honestly, probably, well, first of all, y'all already have some of the early access and some of the tea early, but we'll be backstage doing some members only stuff, going over some of the motions that they're going to be passing this weekend, which I know is going to happen. We'll be backstage this weekend talking about what is Sparkle saying about her niece's testimony? Because she do got some things to say. And baby, all I'm going to say is pop your popcorn and brew your tea because it's pretty crazy. So everybody else will get that later, Sunday, Monday, whenever. Channel members, y'all already got access to a little bit. Y'all saw I post something on the community tab. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play this commercial. We're going to see if any of the P-Hob is brave enough to call in. If not, that's cool. If so, let's get it. Drop your pancakes. Drop your special emojis in the chat if you are a channel member. And we'll be right back.
The plainest Jane. This is one of my favorite comments here. She says, I loves me some black. And she said, loves me some black news. She says, is it just me? Or does anyone else get tired of seeing people that don't look like them delivering info about them day in and day out?
So wait a minute, you ain't joined the channel yet so that you can access special perks over here with the plainest Jane?
Rolex on your wrist of plain Jane.
Ooh, watch this. Hey, I'm the plainest Jane. I'm a cultural commentator and informant, and I provide sticky coverage on trending stories, black news, black culture, and everyday topics with a sticky, abstract perspective. So get familiar with the perks. I've carefully curated all of these things, and it's just a little exclusive glaze to amplify the way that you express yourself. So get comfortable, get used to our official emoji over here. That is the pancake stack, because it's always sticky in Hollywood and in real life, and especially when you spending time over here with the plaintiff Jane. Like I said, I hope you enjoy the exclusive glaze that I've provided for you to amplify the way you express yourself, and I hope you enjoy the digital vibe. Hey, listen, I always want you to keep it sticky, but be sure to think critically and independently, regardless of what you hear from me or anybody else. But most importantly, I hope that you're feeling all right, and hopefully you've had some time to tackle some of your invisible problems. I know I got a couple of new subscribers, and I just want to say thank y'all. I really do appreciate you. And if you're not quite feeling all right, this channel right here, once you join, it's going to help you kick back and decompress always, but it'll also keep you in the know with what's happening with the best Black news, celebrity entertainment, and a splash of controversy. So again, get comfortable. The first drink is on me, all right? Act like you got some sense, and I'll see you around. But don't forget to keep it sticky 24/7 by following me on Instagram, but hit that notification bell so that you always know when I upload and you get your dose of syrup first. Now, with all that stickiness being said, the most important thing I want you to remember about this neck of the woods and the plaintiff Jane is Black Lives Matter. And if you don't agree,
buy pumpkin, that would take you out. I don't play that shit.
Now you gotta go for real.
It's just that simple. Hey, look, whether you join or not, I do want you to stay beautiful, Black, and blessed. And just know I appreciate your support. I'm your girl, the plaintiff Jane. And let's see what's happening in these virtual streets. You ready? All right now. This could be a crazy ride. I'm warning you now.
And we're back, and we do have somebody who is willing to call in. A member of the Beehive, as I like to call it. How are you today?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I have one question that I would like for you to answer.
Sure.
And I had commented in your chat, but your mods were blocking me. So, Reshonda was sexually abused, right? R. Kelly is wrong for having sex with underage girls. I'm not going to defend that part. But what I do want to say is that if she was abused and treated so badly, why is she reported to have put money on R. Kelly's books? Doesn't it seem a little strange to you that you just said that she was getting her rent paid in University Park, she was getting cars and everything. As soon as R. Kelly is going broke, now you want to come out? That doesn't seem a little fishy to you?
What would be her benefit now that he's going broke coming out?
Who's going to pay her rent? You just said he paid her rent and got her car and stuff and all these things. And now that he's broke, everybody wants to come out.
You think he's really broke?
Oh, I don't think he's broke like we think broke, but probably him going to jail for 30 years. And I don't think he's willing to pay her rent anymore. That's what I will say.
So which one is it? Is it that he's broke or is that he's not broke? Do you think he's, R. Kelly's made a lot of music. He's not like a Wayne Wonder or a Blue Cantrell or John B or a one-hit wonder. So if he's really made all these hits and all these royalties and things like that, R. Kelly ain't broke. So which one is it? You just said you think he's broke, but you also think he's not broke.
I don't think he's broke. That's what I'm saying. But if she was abused so bad, why is she reported to have put money on his books?
Have you never heard of people who are abused actually caring for or having compassion for or taking care of the person that did that for them for one reason or another? Are you not aware of the statistics of people who have actually been sexually abused and the relationship with the person who abused them?
I'm aware of that, but once you get away from the abuser, I thought we stay away from the abuser. We don't keep going back to the.
Technically, in this case, you got to stay away from him because he's, behind bars, right? Joycelyn ain't seen him in a while, but she's still definitely under his spell because she's also one of his many, victims / accusers. So, Joycelyn is very well still under the spell. Why would anybody else be any different?
Okay, so can we also, if we're going to paint R. Kelly as the pedophile, why are you not in your videos, you're not painting the women that were grown-ass adults as pedophiles too? Like Lisa, why are we not painting them as pedophiles?
Well, Lisa is somebody that all of her information isn't out and relevant in this trial, right? Because Like that's not here. However, did you not hear me express my dismay for Andrea Kelly, his wife? She's trash. The allegations of her having sex with some of the minors. Oh, she's trash. And I've called that out. Did you selectively not hear that, or you just heard what you wanted to hear? Or
no, I didn't hear you say anything about
oh yeah, I definitely spent at least 20 minutes of this video on a rant, to the point where I felt like I needed to bring myself back down to talk about the trial, because I went on a long rant about Andrea Kelly and how she was complicit and how fucking gross that is. Yes, I definitely went on an 18-minute tangent in this very video right here. Yep, sure did.
Okay, but I think we need to consider all the adults as pedophiles. It's not just R. Kelly then.
And what other adults outside of Lisa do you want to name that you feel like are pedophiles?
Everybody that was there knowing that those kids were getting touched.
And I'm asking you about who you want to name. Which ones do you want to name?
We're going to name everybody.
Yeah, who?
We can't just name Drea.
Lisa was 18. Right, and you said Lisa, and who else?
Lisa was 18.
And who else?
The two assistants, McDavid and Brown. They need to be held accountable too.
Yeah, I've never taken up for them.
If you're witnessing a kid having sex with a grown ass man, even though you're not touching that kid, isn't that still some type of pedo right there?
Hold on. Say what you said. I'm sorry. The cat ripped my damn earpiece out my head. You said McDavid and Brown, and you said
yes. I said just because in the trial it's not stated that they were touching on her, but to watch a grown man, to watch a kid go into a grown man's room, isn't that's they shouldn't be held accountable to?
Yeah, and you've never heard me take up for those people as I bring them up. I call them nasty as hell. If you're handling child porn, if you know about child porn, you're complicit. And I definitely take time shading and dragging those people as I cover this trial. However, this isn't the McDavid or the Brown trial. Like, this is about R. Kelly. However, when his co-defendants come up, because don't nobody know a McDavid and a Brown, but I covered both of their discrepancies or transgressions, and I've also expressed my dismay for them as well. So I've never taken up for the people that you're talking about, and I've expressed how they were complicit the same way I expressed, which you haven't heard because you couldn't.
Well, you didn't say anything about Sparkle. You did not say anything about Sparkle.
Oh, I definitely said I think Sparkle needs to take the stand, and I also told my channel members, because I posted something backstage about Sparkle and her conflicting testimony. So that's something that I've chosen not to get into yet, because I implore people to join my membership before I really drag her in front of everybody else, because I do side with her niece and not her aunt. So if you don't know my tactic, and if you're not familiar with my content, then you wouldn't quite understand what my approach is. However, because I haven't dragged Sparkle yet, doesn't mean that I don't think that she is at fault for anything, not to mention her ex-husband even confirmed before Reshonda said what she said on the stand today. Her ex-husband actually confirmed and said before Reshonda said it, confirmed what Reshonda said today. So it doesn't mean that I think that the people that you're talking about are innocent. You just feel like I need to deflect from R. Kelly and not talk about him and talk about everybody else. And I've never made excuses for any of the people that you're bringing up right now. So what other pedophiles are you talking about now?
Okay, so what's your argument for the girls? Again, I understand you you said something about, do I know about psychological abuse? Okay, these girls, they were abused from the time that they were 14. They're grown women now. Did she just stop sleeping with R. Kelly? It's reported that she probably, up until he went to jail, she had stopped sleeping with R. Kelly. So the point I'm trying to make is, even when these girls got grown, they still kept coming back.
Again, do you not understand the behavior of people when they are abused sexually, especially when it started when they were a child? Are you not aware of those statistics and the patterns?
But if he's sending them back home, why are you coming back if you're abused? The point I'm trying to make is that is
there anybody in your family that's ever been the victim of abuse? That's
the point. I'm not trying to defend the fact that
cool. It's okay. Don't answer any of my questions.
No. I'm not trying to defend the fact that he slept with underage girls. I'm not doing that. But what I am trying to say is that do you really believe that those girls did not want to sleep with R. Kelly? Like,
they were minors. I wanted to sleep with adults when I was a child too, because I was a fucking child and I was stupid. Yep. And so just because children want
And
to
her
sleep
mom
with you,
and
and
her
when
dad
you're an
kept
adult,
working
when
for
you're
R.
an
Kelly.
adult and children want to sleep with you, it doesn't mean that you have the right to then sleep with the kids.
I agree. But what I don't like is that you're just pointing the finger at R. Kelly. You're not pointing the finger.
This is R. Kelly's trial.
But you need to point the finger at everybody involved. It's like
I am, and that's the thing.
You're giving a pass to the adults, but because R. Kelly is the spotlight of the trial, we're just gonna point fingers at R. Kelly.
Hold on, I'm typing something because I got to answer to your question right quick, because you're not answering. You're not asking anything hard. Actually, you're really not saying anything that's difficult. It's not that I'm only pointing the finger at R. Kelly. It's that this is R. Kelly's trial, and it's easy for his fans to deflect and say blame this person and blame that person. And the fact of the matter is, while I'm covering R. Kelly's trial, I do talk about the transgressions and the wrongdoings of the other people involved. You, my friend, just called in because you want to defend R. Kelly. You didn't even think that I was talking shit or dragging his goddamn ex-wife, Andrea Kelly, because you brand new to this shit. However, 2 hours ago, because it's been 2 hours and 51 minutes, we've been here now, 2 hours ago, I was dragging his wife to the point where I had to calm myself down and bring it back down. I'm not just dragging R. Kelly. Everybody who was complicit around that situation is trash. And I've said that, and I'll never stop saying that. And I'll continue saying that. So what's next? Exactly. She hung up. She hung up. She hung up. She doesn't have anything else to say.
But that's it. If you want to catch more of my commentary on Black culture or vital and trending information, be sure to subscribe by hitting that little circle in the middle of the screen, or I'll catch you in one of these rectangles to the right in another video. I'll see you there.